I have a lot of reading to do, y'all. So far, we're already here on paperbacks, and I'm not even done yet. Hey guys, Nikki here. I have a TBR for April, and it's not even halfway through the month, and you're already getting it. So I say we're doing better than we are last month. So first things first, if you are not already subscribed, let's get that out of the way because I will have some exciting things coming this month. I'm thinking I will either have some reviews to bring to you or I will have book tags or both, depending on my ability and my work travel and things like that. Go ahead and subscribe so that you don't miss those. Also, if you're not already following me on Instagram, do follow me there because when I'm not able to post YouTube videos, I do post Instagram videos from time to time because, you know, I don't have to like edit those. They are just raw and unedited, maybe filtered, I don't know, it depends. But anyway, you don't want to miss those, so definitely subscribe to my Instagram. I also have Facebook and Twitter, but Instagram is where it's at for me, so go ahead and follow me there. I'll have the link down below. So without further ado, let's get into what I'm reading for April. The first book I'm reading this month, and if you're following my blog, you probably already have seen this list, but I wanted to go ahead and get that out before I was able to film this video. But my first one is Rules of Prey by John Sanford, and this was a book that it's kind of a mystery crime thriller type of story, which is kind of a little bit out of my genre, but it's a book that was recommended to me by someone that I work with. He was telling me about this book. I thought it sounded really good. This is the first book in the Lucas Davenport series. So if I do like this book, then I have a long series to continue reading, which is kind of exciting to me. So that is book number one. Book number two is a second in a series, which is Days of Blood and Starlight by Laini Taylor. This is the second book to Daughter of Smoke and Bone, and I'm really looking forward to this one because I really liked the first book. I read it last month, and just when things really started getting good is when it all kind of wrapped up at the end of that book. So I'm definitely curious to see how this series continues. This is YA fantasy. It says,
in the stunning sequel to the highly acclaimed Daughter of Smoke and Bone, Karou must decide how far she'll go to avenge her people. Filled with secrets and impossible choices, Days of Blood and Starlight finds Karou and Akiva on opposing sides as an age-old war stirs back to life.
So this is sort of an angels versus demons type story where one from each side falls in love with the other, and you kind of don't really know who's supposed to be the good guy and who's supposed to be the bad guy because each side thinks they are the good guy. But I like the world, I like the magic. Definitely a good story so far, so I'm excited to see how this one is going to play out. It's definitely a long book. I'm going to be reading this in paperback, but we're looking at, not including acknowledgments, 513 pages. So this is going to take up some time. So luckily I have some travel to do this month that I can spend some time probably reading this one on flights and such. So next up is Cinder by Marissa Meyer. If you didn't know, I did read Heartless by Marissa Meyer a couple of months ago, and I'm still reeling over that book. I just freaking loved it. So I wanted to pick up more from this author to see if she's just always good or if that was like a one-off. But this sounds really interesting, and obviously like the series itself, all the books are like
super pretty.
It just sounded really interesting to me, so...
Even in the future, the story begins with once upon a time. Humans and androids crowd the ruckus streets of New Beijing. A deadly plague ravages the population. From space, a ruthless lunar people watch, waiting to make their move. No one knows that Earth's fate hinges on one girl. 16-year-old Cinder, a gifted mechanic, is a cyborg. She's a second-class citizen with a mysterious past and is reviled by her stepmother. But when her life becomes intertwined with the handsome Prince Kai, she suddenly finds herself at the center of an intergalactic struggle and a forbidden attraction. Caught between duty and freedom, loyalty and betrayal, she must uncover secrets about her past in order to protect her world's future, because there is something unusual about Cinder, something that others would kill for.
So that definitely sounds like a really interesting kind of weird play on the Cinderella theme, a fairy tale retelling, reimagining. I'm excited to get into this one. I'm also going to be reading this one as the paperback, so it's another kind of thick-ish one. I am excited to get into that. Next up is The Red Queen, and to kind of offset the time that it's going to take me to read all of these, I will be listening to this one in audiobook. I've heard mixed things about this book. I've heard some people really love it, and I've heard some people really do not love it, but I think I will probably like it just because I'm pretty easy to please and I'm not easily offended. So I don't know, we'll see how I like it. It is another royalty YA fantasy.
It says Mare Arrow's world is divided by blood. Those with red and those with silver. Mare and her family are lowly reds, destined to serve the silver elite whose supernatural abilities make them nearly gods. Mare steals what she can to help her family survive, but a twist of fate leads her to the royal palace itself, where in front of the king and all his nobles, she discovers an ability she didn't know she had, except her blood is red. To hide this impossibility, the king forces her into the role of a lost silver princess and betroths her to one of his own sons. As Mare is drawn further into the silver world, her actions put into motion a deadly and violent dance, pitting prince against prince and Mare against her own heart. From debut author Victoria Aveyard comes a lush, vivid fantasy series where loyalty and desire can tear you apart, and the only certainty is betrayal.
So this, I mean, it sounds really exciting to me, so I'm looking forward to this, and I think probably the audiobook is going to kind of add to that, so we shall see. Next up is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, and this is a historical fiction set in the World War II era in France. I'm really getting into these World War II stories, especially set in France for some reason. I guess at this point in my life, I am just really getting into that, which is really funny because I always hated history, especially like going through high school when I was younger. History was like one of those that I suffered through because I had to, but I absolutely hated it. But the older I get, the more I really enjoy this type of story. Goodreads Best Historical Novel of the Year, I assume, what year was it? So 2017.
The story is about what it's like to be a woman during the war when women's stories are all too often forgotten or overlooked. With courage, grace, and powerful insight, best-selling author Kristen Hanna captures the epic panorama of World War II and illuminates an intimate part of the story seldom seen, the women's war. The Nightingale tells the story of two sisters separated by years and experience, by ideals, passion, and circumstance, each embarking on her own dangerous path towards survival, love, and freedom in war-torn France. It's a heartbreakingly beautiful novel that celebrates the resilience of the human spirit and the durability of women. It's a novel for everyone, a novel for a lifetime.
I really think I'm gonna like this book. I can't believe I have not read it yet, to be honest with you. That's why it's going to be read this month. Paperback edition on this one as well, so I have a lot of reading to do, y'all. I've got a lot of reading to do. So far, we're already here on paperbacks, and I'm not even done yet. The next one is an ebook, and I might actually get the audiobook when it comes out, but this is a brand new release coming out on the 16th of this month, and that is the new release by E.L. James called The Mister, and this is set in present day London, and I want to say, even though it's not technically in the series of 50 Shades, I do think it's probably set in the world, because I don't know if you guys remember, if you read 50 Shades of Grey, which, I mean, who hasn't read 50 Shades of Grey at this point? Christian's adopted mother, her maiden name was Trevelyan, and this guy, let me just pull up the Goodreads really quick.
The passionate new romance from E.L. James, author of the phenomenal #1 bestselling 50 Shades trilogy. London, 2019. Life has been easy for Maxim Trevelyan. With his good looks, aristocratic connections, and money, he's never had to work, and he's rarely slept alone. But all that changes when tragedy strikes, and Maxim inherits his family's noble title, wealth, and estates, and all the responsibilities that entails. It's a role he's not prepared for, and one that he struggles to face. But his biggest challenge is fighting his desire for an unexpected, enigmatic young woman who's recently arrived in England, possessing little more than a dangerous and troublesome past. Reticent, beautiful, and musically gifted, she's an alluring mystery, and Maxim's longing for her deepens into a passion that he's never experienced and dares not name. Just who is Alessia Damachi? Can Maxim protect her from the malevolence that threatens her, and what will she do when she learns that he's been hiding secrets of his own? From the heart of London, through wild, rural Cornwall, to the bleak, forbidding beauty of the Balkans, The Mister is a rollercoaster ride of danger and desire that leaves the reader breathless to the very last page.
So, of course, everyone is going to be reading this book. Get ready. It's going to be all over everywhere. I'm sure everyone is going to be comparing it to 50 Shades. I'm going to try not to do that. I liked 50 Shades. It's one of those books that it could have been edited way better, but the story itself, I really enjoyed the psychology of it. Psychology is like my educational background. I have a master's in psychology, and so I think that that whole part of it was what intrigued me the most about 50 Shades. So we'll see what aspect I pick up on this one. It's supposed to be a standalone. So anyway, we'll see how it goes. But I am really looking forward to that one. Probably will pick up the audiobook on this one, to be honest with you, just because of time. If not, I will be reading the ebook, and if so, I will post my Kindle notes on that. Actually, I might read the ebook anyway, just so I can post the Kindle note. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. So that is the next one. So next up is another historical fiction, which is The Huntress by Kate Quinn. I'm really excited about this one because this is the same author who wrote The Alice Network. The Alice Network was such a good book, y'all. I don't know if you've read that one, but I really liked the really strong female characters in that story. This story I'm listening to on audiobook, and so far it definitely has kind of those same vibes as The Alice Network. I'm really enjoying this one so far, so I will definitely talk about this one when I do my wrap up for this month. But I mean, there's no wonder that this is already a bestseller, because I think I'm already on, I don't even know what chapter, and it's already just so good. So
this one says, in the aftermath of war, the hunter becomes the hunted. Bold, reckless Nina Markova grows up on the icy edge of Soviet Russia, dreaming of flight and fearing nothing. When a tide of war sweeps over her homeland, she gambles everything to join the infamous Night Witches, an all-female night bomber regiment wreaking havoc on Hitler's Eastern Front. But when she is down behind enemy lines and thrown across the path of a lethal Nazi murderess known as the Huntress, Nina must use all her wits to survive. British war correspondent Ian Graham has witnessed the horrors of war from Omaha Beach to the Nuremberg trials. He abandons journalism after the war to become a Nazi hunter, yet one target eludes him, the Huntress. Fierce, disciplined Ian must join forces with brazen, cocksure Nina, the only witness to escape the Huntress alive. But a shared secret could derail their mission unless Ian and Nina force themselves to confront it. 17-year-old Jordan McBride grows up in the post-World War II Boston, determined despite family opposition to become a photographer. At first delighted when her long-widowed father brings home a fiancé, Jordan grows increasingly disquieted by the soft-spoken German widow who seems to be hiding something. Armed only with her camera and her wits, Jordan delves into her new stepmother's past and slowly realizes there are mysteries buried deep in her family. But Jordan's search for the truth may threaten all she holds dear.
So as you can see, it's got a few different points of view, and I mean, there's definitely a clear distinction between the different points of view. And each story so far, to me, while they don't yet intertwine at the point I'm at, I haven't gotten just too far into it, but they're all very interesting in and of themselves. I really enjoy the writing style of this author, so I'm really excited to continue listening to this one. Next up, Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. I read A Court of Thorns and Roses, I think February, and I really enjoyed it. It's YA fantasy. Actually, I think she's actually 19 when the series starts, so it's more of a new adult fantasy. I do think there are some not so YA content, definitely in the first one, and I heard even more in the second one. But I'm definitely curious to know what happens.
So it says Feyre survived Araminthus' clutches to return to the Spring Court, but at a steep cost. Though she now has the powers of a high fae, her heart remains human, and it can't forget the terrible deeds she performed to save Tamlin's people. Nor has Feyre forgotten her bargain with Rhysand, High Lord of the feared Night Court. As Feyre navigates its dark web of politics, passion, and dazzling power, a greater evil looms, and she might be key to stopping it, but only if she can harness her harrowing gifts, heal her fractured soul, and decide how she wishes to shape her future and the future of a world torn apart.
So, in the first book, I don't want to give too much away, but there's a character in here that you initially do not like very much, and then like he ends up surprising you kind of towards the end, and you start kind of questioning, like, do I like this guy? Do I not like this guy? Like, wait, what's going on here? And so I'm interested to see how this one goes. And can I just say, holy shit, I'm reading the paperback in this one too. I may have been a little too ambitious on this one, y'all. 626 pages. Oh, all right, where are we at here on paperbacks? Paperbacks, y'all. This is like compared to my head. Next is another audiobook, which is Orphan Train by Christina Baker Klein. This one is the pick for this month for my local book club, and it's not really one that I probably would have picked to read myself, but I've really been surprised at most of the books we've picked out to read for this book club. And I think the reason that we picked this one was because one of the other members, her husband is doing a a play, or he's participating in a play that's either this story or based off of this story, one of the two. And unfortunately, due to like my travel and different things because of my work, I am not going to make the play, but I'm excited to read the book and hear what it's about. It's supposed to be, I think, set in Maine, and it's an elderly woman hires a young woman to help her clean out her house as she's coming to the end of her life, or she's like moving out into a home or whatever. And the girl starts going through this woman's stuff, and she realizes that she was a part of the orphan train back in the day. So it's probably going to be kind of a deep literary fiction type story. I usually don't read stuff like this just because of how closely it pertains to what I do for my work. I don't know if you guys know that I am sort of in the social work field in my day job, and so I tend to kind of stay away from the heavier stuff like this. But I'm taking one for the team. I'm gonna listen, and hopefully it will be good and will compensate for the fact that I'm basically going to be working on my free time. No, it's fine. So anyway, next up is another audiobook, which is Maybe in Another Life by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This one I'm borrowing for free from the romance package in Audible, and last month I read my first ever foray into Taylor Jenkins Reid, which was The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which I really, really, really liked. I wanted to kind of see if maybe this is an author I'm going to like, or if maybe that was like one-off. I do have Daisy Jones and the Six that I thought maybe I would read this month, but I'm gonna wait on that one. I know everybody is saying how great that book is, but I don't think I'm quite ready to read that one yet. So I thought I would read one of the more lighter romances, especially since it was free in the Audible romance package. And I kind of like to get my money's worth out of that thing once in a while. So anyway, we'll see how that goes. Next is Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. This is another book club read that is the Books with Friends that is led by Books with Chloe booktuber and Common Spence. So this looks like a really interesting YA mystery novel. It says
Ellingham Academy is a famous private school in Vermont, founded by an early 20th century tycoon for the best and brightest students around. When Ellingham's wife and daughter were kidnapped, the only clue was a mocking riddle listing methods of murder signed with a frightening pseudonym, Truly Devious. Their disappearance became one of the great unsolved mysteries in history. Many years later, true crime aficionado Stevie Bell is set to begin her first year at the academy, and she is determined to solve this cold case. That is, she will solve it when she gets a grip on her demanding new school life and her housemates, the inventor, the novelist, the actor, the artist, and the jokester. But Truly Devious makes a surprise return. The past has crawled out of its grave, and someone has gotten away with murder. Truly Devious is the first novel in a murder mystery trilogy by New York Times bestselling author Maureen Johnson.
So, I mean, it just seems like a really cute story. I'm looking forward to this. I think I'm gonna like it, and I really like the cover of this too. So the last book on my list this month is one of my own book club reads. So I do have a romance book club that my members get to vote on what book we read from month to month. And the way that I do that is I do take nominations, but I usually don't ever get any. So what I normally do is I will pick 3 books, and they're all romance, or usually contemporary romance, and I will either pick something that I'm interested in reading or something that has some kind of significance either with the author or the story itself. This month, everybody voted, and the winning vote ended up being Second Nature by Nora Roberts. The reason that I suggested this one as one of the options was because of the recent big plagiarism issue in the romance author community, and how Nora Roberts has responded to that, really taking on the situation and kind of spearheading this kind of war on plagiarists and the authors who scam the book community and things like that. So I really love Nora Roberts, and I wanted to support her and show my support for her, and so that was the reason that I suggested this as one of the options. And so I'm really excited that this was the pick. This is another one that I am borrowing for free in the Audible romance package. language. So this one is another Audible audiobook that I will be listening to this month. So that is it for my TBR list. That's 12 books. And I didn't think it was too ambitious, but I have all of these paperbacks I will be reading plus the ebook for the Mistress. So normally I try to read like 2 at a time, so at any given time I'm always listening to an audiobook. As I mentioned, I'm already listening to The Huntress, which I'm really enjoying, but I don't know which one I'm going to start first. I'll probably take this one with me on my trip to Austin next week, the end of next week. I don't know, I might start with, I don't want to start with Kristen Hanna because I'm listening to historical fiction already with The Huntress, so I think I might start with Cinder for my, I take that back because stack this again because this one is paperback as well. Haha. Oh my gosh, y'all, this is insane. What was I thinking? What was I thinking? Oh my gosh. So, tell me if I'm crazy, y'all. Tell me if I'm just completely nuts. I don't know. What do y'all think? Am I gonna get through all these? Last month I got to, I had 15 on my TBR. I did not get to 3 of them, but I read one that wasn't initially on my TBR. So I read 13 books last month, and this is 12. So, I don't know. Maybe I can do it. What do y'all think? I don't know. Anyway, again, subscribe down below. Hope to have some exciting stuff to post this month. It'll just depend on my time. And that's it. So, we'll see you guys later. Leave me a comment. Like, let me know which of these books you guys find interesting that you might want to read. And if you've already read any of them, like, don't spoil anything for me, but let me know how you like them. So, that is going to be it for now, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.